Welcome to the P.A.S. Report podcast. If you're tired of censorship, outraged by government abuses, and thirsty for real insights, then you're in the right place. Get ready, because here, the fight for freedom never ends. Here's your host, Professor Nick Giordano.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the P.A.S. Report podcast. Here's your host, Nick Giordano. I'm glad you could join me today. Make sure that you follow and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Also, visit the P.A.S. Report website, pasreport.com, and share this episode with your family and friends, because I have a great guest coming on the show. I have Chris Salcedo. He is a Newsmax host and the author of a fantastic new book, The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, A New American Revolution. Chris, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Professor, it's wonderful to be here with you, sir. Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad you come on, because you described this idea of a new American revolution, and it's led by liberty-loving Latinos like yourself. And I have to ask, what was the turning point that you saw that really broke the link between the Latino community and the Democratic Party? And what do you think most people, especially in the media, still get wrong about Latino voters?
Well, okay. Well, first off, guys like me and guys like Michael Savage have been laying the foundation for this for decades. The observation that Latinos in general, and this is a general overview of the Latino community, they're God-fearing. Their ancestors fled countries where the Democrats, the ideological equivalents of Democrats, had taken over. So they watched as their countries were destroyed by the ideological equivalents of Democrats. So they fled to the United States, and they believed that America was a salvation, and they wanted to preserve this last best hope of mankind on planet Earth. So the effort to do that has been led by constitutional conservatives. And the constitutional conservatives have been making the case to the Latino community and to those who would listen that the natural home for Hispanics writ large, I mean, there are loudmouth leftist Latinos out there. There are leftists in every racial demographic, every society, right? There are differences of opinion, those who want to enslave and those who want to be free. That is a dynamic that exists in the Latino community, exists in the white community, exists in the black community, okay? But what happened was, that after people like me and other liberty-loving Latinos and folks on the conservative movement laid the foundation, the Democrats went back guano crazy. I mean, they went absolutely full-blown anti-American kook freaking nut. That's what they did. This idea that men can have babies and that Johnny can be Susie and Susie can be Johnny, and that the state needed to tax the living daylights out of you, and you didn't have a right to free speech, and you didn't have a right to put something in your arm or take an injection, and it was somebody else's call and not yours, that your children were not yours. They belonged to the state. These ideas being pushed down our throats by Barack Hussein Obama's Democrat Party pushed us over the edge, and you saw a political revolution that was immense. And let me just say this for the record, Nick, that if there wasn't a place for Latinos to run to, President Trump made sure there was one. If there wasn't one, they would have just stayed home. But President Trump said, we've got to give Latinos, we've got to give those who yearn to breathe free a place to run to, just like they were able to run, their ancestors were able to run to America for that freedom. And without President Trump and the America First coalition, there would not have been this revolution that I'm outlining in the book.
Well, now, to me, this is fascinating, because the central themes in your book are faith, family, freedom. I mean, these are our core values. And let's be honest, they tend to lean conservative when you're talking faith, family, and freedom. Now, when it comes to the Latino community, it's important that you stated they're not a monolithic group. Everyone has differences, opinions, just like every group that exists out there. But why did they initially gravitate to the Democratic Party, even though when it comes to their life and how they live their life and the values that they preach, that they live by for themselves and their children, why did they even gravitate to the Democratic Party in the first place?
Well, look at where they were coming from. Cuba, communist country, ground people's rights into the dirt. Everything was subordinate to the interests of the elite rich class that was ruling the country, right? Venezuela. Look at the Central American countries, the Northern Triangle countries, where the leftists had taken over war and crime and no economic opportunity. You know, when you come to America and you got the Democrat Party saying, we're just going to give you everything. You don't have to work. You can sit on your butt and collect all of this money. We're going to give it to you. It's very seductive, and a lot of Latinos bought into it initially. And the Democrats were out there for a while. You know, the Kennedy Democrats who hadn't abandoned America completely. Even Bill Clinton, who hadn't abandoned America completely, American ideals completely. I mean, it was with the help of Newt Gingrich, he balanced the budget, right? Bill Clinton triangulated. He did some.
Well, in today's Democratic Party, Bill Clinton and John F. Kennedy would be right-wing extremists.
Well, I got to tell you, I want to tell you one thing. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. No, you know, look, Clinton dotted some I's and crossed some T's. And again, it wasn't enough to push the Latinos out of the Democrat Party because they were sufficiently American. The Democrat Party today is not. The Democrat Party today resembles the ruling power in Cuba and Venezuela. That's what the Democrat Party has descended into. And Latinos said, okay, we're out. And I can give you an example. In my home state of Texas, down there on that southern border in 2020, the counties lining the border, all of them blue, all of them Democrat. Then the Democrat Party opened up the borders. Waves of humanity came in. The narco-terrorists took over the border communities, completely destroying Latino communities. And Democrats who were in charge were reaching out to the White House, to Beijing Biden's White House, saying, hey, you guys are really destroying our communities. And they said, tough. Shut up, they said. By the way, remember Nancy Pelosi here a couple days ago?
Yeah.
She was confronted about January 6th and what she did, what we all know she did. What was her reaction? Shut up. That's exactly what the Democrat Party was saying to Latinos along the border. Shut up. This is our political need. If we have decided as Democrats that your communities need to be destroyed, then you will be destroyed for the greater good of the Democrat Socialist Party and our power. And Latinos said, sorry, out. And thank goodness.
It's always for the greater good. What amazed me was you had towns with a population of 20,000 that were seeing 5,000 people crossing through on a daily basis, which is unsustainable. I mean, it was a complete disaster. And It did have real impacts. And I want to talk to you about that when we get back from this quick break. So everyone hang tight. We'll be right back. Are you ready to move easily and independently without pain and stiffness holding you back? Do you want to look in the mirror and see a hydrated glow instead of more fine lines and wrinkles? Well, discover Native Path Collagen, made with only type 1 and 3 collagen fibers. These are the two most important types that make up 90% of the collagen found in your cartilage, bones, skin, hair, nails, and gut. They provide maximum benefits, and Native Path Collagen is a single ingredient formula with no fillers, additives, or artificial sweeteners. Plus, it's third-party tested for heavy metals, ensuring purity and safety. Completely flavorless, Native Path Collagen can be added to anything: coffee, smoothies, oatmeal, you name it. It doesn't clump, it absorbs fast thanks to its peptide formula. And the best part, Native Path offers amazing bundle deals at a fraction of the price of other brands. With over 4 million jars sold, 1 million happy customers, 8,000 5-star reviews, and a 365-day no-risk guarantee, Native Path is a brand you could trust. They offer an 800 number for any questions you may have, and then you'll speak to a real person who's there to help. Visit getnativepath.com/PAS and start your transformation today. That's getnativepath.com/PAS. Welcome back to the PAS Report podcast. I'm on with Chris Salcedo. He is the host on Newsmax, and I believe you're on the 5 p.m. hour now, Eastern time, right?
Yep, 5 p.m. Eastern on Newsmax, the daily radio show, 7 to 9. It's Central Time, 8 to 10 Eastern. You can catch that in Houston on the radio. You can catch it online. We stream online on Rumble. And then the podcast, the Salcedo Storm podcast, that's the full suite, if you will, of your Liberty-Loving Latino.
Well, we're going to have links up to that and your book, The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, A New American Revolution. And Chris, before the break, we were talking about how Democrats essentially told Latino voters and just about every other loving American, patriot-loving American, to just shut up and do it for the greater good. It's actually hurt these communities. We see that. But Republicans have always had a problem. They've ignored communities. They've ignored areas. They basically surrendered them to the Democratic Party. Now you see with President Trump that he's made inroads with not just the Latino community, but young voters, black voters. And we're seeing a change in the dynamics. What should and how should Republicans capitalize on this without taking Latino support for granted like the Democrats did for decades?
Well, I am asked this every time I speak before Republican groups. How do we appeal to the Latino community? How do we appeal to Hispanics? How do we do outreach? That's what they say. You know, the political consultant speak. Outreach. Do you know what outreach is? This is what I tell everybody. Outreach is this. Hands are held up. This is outreach. Democrats do this every 2 years in the House, every 6 years in the Senate. You know what that is? I'm asking for something from you. What I say to Republicans, you need to do this. Extend your hand out in the handshake position. And that's a partnership. You don't need to do outreach. You need to do partnership. You need to let them know that your policies as conservatives, however many Republicans still believe in conservatism.
Not many.
Yeah, not many. You need to say that you're going to be there with the community to make sure that they have the opportunity and the ability to succeed as far as their God-given talents can take them. That the government will not ride on their backs, but will walk by their side. And that's exactly what Reagan said, and that's what Republicans need to do. But you're right. We've listened for far too long to the Mitch McConnells of the world, to the John Cornyn's of the world, to the Lisa Murkowski's of the world, who said, don't even bother talking to those Latinos. They're all Democrats. They wrote us off, and they did so at the behest of the Democrats, I believe, because these are fake Republicans, after all. And I always say to Republicans who ask, how do I appeal to you folks in the Latino community? Take a page from Trump's book. He didn't write anybody off. He believed in his message was superior, and he went to every nook and cranny of this country with that message. He didn't care whether you were black. He didn't care whether you were white or Latino. He took his message, and that's what Republicans got to do. It's I always tell them, folks, I want you to break out your pad and pencil. I'm going to give you a detailed explanation as to what you need to do to appeal to Hispanics. And some of them actually do. This is great. I love doing this. They actually take out they got their pencils poised and they're ready to take down these copious notes. And I say, here it is, folks. Talk to them. You've got a superior message. Talk to them. And that's exactly what the Republican Party has to do, which if you listen to John Cornyn, if you listen to Paul Ryan, if you listen to Karl Rove, you're never going to do it. So take your superior conservative message into every community in America, be unapologetically American, and you will start winning. Why? Because that's exactly what President Trump did. And guess what he did? He won.
It's a great point. And when you look at the idea of make America great again, he didn't say make it great again for just one group of people. He wants everyone to benefit from the United States, everyone to grow, everyone to be prosperous. And we saw over the years, the left has weaponized identity politics for decades. But do you think that with the election of Trump, his second term now, more people gravitating towards conservatism, do you think that we're starting to see the death, I hope so, of racial, ethnic identity politics? Do you think that the Democrats overplayed their hand and so now people have moved beyond that and the left and the Democrats just haven't caught up yet?
Well, I think that there's something called the Great Black Awakening happening in the black community where they've, 70 years of undying devotion to the Democrat Socialist Party. And what has it yielded?
Well, you go to Chicago, it's 100 years.
Yeah. What is it? What have they gotten for it? An abortion clinic on every corner, right? That's it. Their economic situation has gotten worse. The Democrats have contributed to the destruction of the actually been the driving force behind the destruction of the black family. So there are blacks who are awakening to the idea of the emptiness that is the Democrat Socialist Party. Latinos have never been really completely wedded to the Democrat Party, so we're able to break away faster. And look, when you have court cases that just happened this week where the Democrat Socialists, the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Progressive Colored People, the NAACP, they show up to the high court and they say, well, among other things, we have to have racism to combat racism. Huh? And then the NAACP says, well, it's because that white Democrats won't vote for blacks is the reason why we need Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Huh? And then you have Ketanji Brown Jackson, the woman who doesn't know what a woman is, saying that being a person of color is a, quote, disability. Huh? There are a lot of people who have two brain cells to rub together in the Latino community and the black community who are saying, you guys are bat guano crazy and we don't want to be a part of you anymore. Plus you're anti-American kooks, freaks, and nuts. So we don't want to be a part of you anymore.
Well, isn't that like when you look at progressive America, you see how they think that Hispanics simply care about immigration. That's the only thing they care about.
Illegal.
When in fact that the
Illegal.
majority
Yes.
of Hispanics are actually against illegal immigration.
Yes.
The majority of Hispanics actually take a much tougher approach when it comes to illegal immigration. And it's mostly white, rich progressives that are ones out there that are, surrounding ICE vehicles. You have college professors doing it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know how offensive it is. And I talk about it in the book. And in The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, I talk about how the Democrats assumed that, hey, you're a Latino. You must support illegal immigration. And it's like, I don't get offended. I just don't. I don't think it's not your right to be offended. But I look at them and I say, yeah, you're a nutcase. Don't tell me. It's kind of maybe the reason I gravitated toward media is because I don't want to let these left-wingers define me. And every single time one of these, as you rightly point out, white, rich, leftist progressives jump on television and say, this is what Latinos think. Latinos roll their eyes and say, you have no idea what the hell we think. And the idea that because I have brown skin and I have a Latino surname that I support illegal activity, that's racist. And that's what you Democrats are.
Or Latinx. What's Latinx?
Oh, wait a minute. We dedicate a lot of time in the book to detailing. Me and my organizer, Matthew Klickstein, I said, look, we have got to, this Latinx thing, I've really got to devote a lot of time to this because whether you're a Democrat Latino, whether you're a Republican Latino, a conservative Latino, a liberal Latino, do you know what the polling is on that term Latinx? Over 90%, depending on which poll you read, anywhere between 90 and over 90% hate the term Latinx because you got to go a whole bunch of these left-wingers who say, yeah, excuse me, your language, your Spanish language is kind of inconvenient for our trans ideology narrative right now. We're going to have to ask you to go ahead and get rid of that. And Latinos are like, what? In the Latino community, the language, the Spanish language, beautiful language, as you know, it is part of an identity. And for those of you who don't know about the Romance languages, a lot of the words in the Romance languages have feminine and masculine masculinity assigned to them. They end in an A or an O in the Spanish language. Masculine O, feminine A. And the idea you got some nutcase, some academic, sorry, professor, some academic coming in and saying, hey, we're going to start calling you Latinx because we don't want to get into this whole gender thing. It's like, yeah, that was part of the whole reason why Latinos said, I'm out. And in places like Texas, places like Florida, nearly in Pennsylvania, Trump won the majority of Latinos. And around the country, 42% of Latinos and 47% of Latino men voted for Trump. Unprecedented, record-breaking.
It's condescending when you go to people and you dictate to them that you know what's in their best interest better than they do. People find that insulting. And I think that over the years, the Democrats with the nanny state approach, with the Marxist approach, that's exactly what they believe. The American people are just too stupid to figure things out for themselves. And you are someone that is a staunch defender of conservatism.
Yes.
And this message of conservatism, I believe, has been drowned out, not just by Democrats, but the lack of defense from Republicans.
Oh, yeah.
Where they don't defend conservatism. Many of them believe in the same big government apparatus that the Democrats do. And even those that are conservative, they won't sit there and fight for conservative values as hard as they should be. Do you think that conservatism is a dying breed, or do you see it as a growing force that sooner or later Republicans are going to have to take a look at it again?
Conservatism is America. I'm sorry. It is the U.S. Constitution. I am a constitutional conservative. Conservatism is grounded in the foundations outlined and articulated in our founding documents, the Declaration and the Constitution of the United States. As long as the United States is the United States, as long as our Constitution is our founding document and guiding our principles, conservatism is alive and well. The minute we start shelving the Constitution, the minute we start ignoring the rule of law, the minute we start saying, you know what, it no longer matters anymore, which several fake Republicans and the majority of the Democrat Party have, with the exception of Fetterman, ironically enough, with the exception of Fetterman, then it may go by the way of the dinosaur. And shame on you Republicans for abandoning your professed party planks, which are supposed to be grounded in conservatism. Shame on John Cornyn. Shame on Mitch McConnell, Liz Cheney, Adam Cryan Kinzinger, Lisa Murkowski. You all know the names. Shame on them for basically whizzing away. I had to clean that up. Whizzing away our birthright of that Constitution and its protections from out-of-control government.
Well, and I want to touch on that. We're going to take one more quick break. Everyone, when we get back, we're going to talk about the Constitution and the lack of knowledge about the Constitution. So everyone, hang tight. We'll be right back. Are you ready to move easily and independently without pain and stiffness holding you back? Do you want to look in the mirror and see a hydrated glow instead of more fine lines and wrinkles? Well, discover Native Path Collagen, made with only type 1 and 3 collagen fibers. These are the two most important types that make up 90% of the collagen found in your cartilage, bones, skin, hair, nails, and gut. They provide maximum benefits, and Native Path Collagen is a single ingredient formula with no fillers, additives, or artificial sweeteners. Plus, it's third-party tested for heavy metals, ensuring purity and safety. Completely flavorless, Native Path Collagen can be added to anything: coffee, smoothies, oatmeal, you name it. It doesn't clump, it absorbs fast thanks to its peptide formula. And the best part, Native Path offers amazing bundle deals at a fraction of the price of other brands. With over 4 million jars sold, 1 million happy customers, 8,000 5-star reviews, and a 365-day no-risk guarantee, Native Path is a brand you could trust. They offer an 800 number for any questions you may have, and then you'll speak to a real person who's there to help. Visit getnativepath.com/PAS and start your transformation today. That's getnativepath.com/PAS. Welcome back to the PAS Report Podcast. So, Chris, we were just talking about the Constitution, and I have to ask, I'm in the classroom. I see students every semester, over 250 students. I give the citizenship exam the first day of classes. 99% of them will fail it at this stage.
Yes.
None of them have read the United States Constitution. They were never assigned to read it. In 13 years of education before they get to me, they've never read it. How can people today defend the Constitution when they don't even know it and they've never read it? And that's my concern.
Paul Ryan, shame on you. Mitch McConnell, shame on you. The Republican Party, shame on you for abandoning our children, turning over our children to leftists, kooks, freaks, and nuts in the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party has been given our children for 3 generations virtually unopposed in K through 12. The reason why we're churning out little socialists and little Marxists now at an unprecedented rate is because we were stupid enough, silly enough, and not caring enough about our children to make sure they were given the proper instruction. The worst mistake this country ever made was allowing the government to instruct our children, to so-called educate our children. Because guess what? They were not educated. They were indoctrinated, the vast majority of them. And this is what President Trump is trying to fix right now. The Department of Education there is no constitutional predicate for it. It needs to go away. The states need to be handling education, and parental school choice and education freedom must be the law of the land. It must be there to give parents the defense that they need. If we're going to make education compulsory, which I do tend to favor, that we make education compulsory, and an educated populace is key to the survival of this country. I believe that. We must give the parents the tools and the weaponry to defend their children and make sure that they're being taught what the parents want them to be taught and not having their values undermined in K through 12, which they definitively 100% are being done today. So
absolutely.
And it take control
cuts across all demographics, all
Yes.
different groups. It's not about Hispanic America, or white America, or black America. When we look at this, it seems that every time something happens in the United States, people's first inclination now is to turn to the government as if government could solve the problems. They don't realize, like, I've never met a single person, maybe you have, but I've never met a single person that has dealt with local, state, or federal government that went into a DMV and walked out saying, wow, that was a pleasant experience. I wish I could do that more often, right? Nobody likes dealing with government, and yet we constantly turn to government.
Well,
over the years, we've seen the abuses of power within the bureaucracy targeting ordinary Americans, whether they're Roman Catholics, and a lot of Hispanics are Catholics. What are your thoughts when you saw the FBI memo come out in the Biden administration that Catholics are potential domestic violent extremists because they believe in two genders, they may like to hear Latin Mass, they may be pro-life? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first off, name one problem the government has solved.
Oh, I can't.
I can name a whole bunch of problems the government has created. Absolutely. And the idea that we need to trust government to fix the problems that they themselves created, that there's a word for that. That's called stupid, folks. That's called insane. That's number one.
Well, that's the leftist way, though, right?
Yes.
We're going to create the problems, and then you give us the power, and we'll solve the problems that we created.
Right. It's the crime problem. It's right now. The Democrats are actually saying healthcare is failing. Healthcare is failing. Dudes, we're under Obamacare. You cursed us with this. And you know who's not saying what I just said?
Republicans. Yep.
Name, hell, not even Donald Trump is saying, hello, we're under Obamacare right now. You guys ruined healthcare in the country. 1/6 of the U.S.
The only one I heard say anything about it was Senator Rand Paul the other day. He was the only one that tied Obamacare. Hey, wasn't this supposed to fix all the problems that existed? Only it created more problems.
30 million uninsured before Obamacare, 30 million uninsured after Obamacare, but we're poorer and government has more power. Gee, I wonder what it was all about. Anyway, and number two, about the Catholic thing. I am a devout practicing Catholic. And when my government came out saying that they were targeting people of my faith, when they wanted to infiltrate my church, like Marxists have been doing for years. I mean, read Taylor Marshall. Taylor Marshall's book will be an eye-opener for many of you folks out there. Read Taylor Marshall about the infiltration of the Catholic Church. You know that the Catholic Church, as it was founded, is a direct opposition to what leftists want. They want government to be your God. And if you have a God above their government, then that's a problem for them. And that's what's behind the attack on Catholicism and Christianity writ large. It's because we have a higher calling, and Democrats can't tolerate that.
If you look at most communist countries in the world that have tried communism, one of the first things they did was they banned organized religion because you can have no higher authority than the state. And if someone believes in an afterlife and they're going to spend an eternity in the afterlife, obviously that's going to come first than, the 60, 70, 80 years we have on this earth. But when it comes to the biggest threats to our liberty, who do you think represents the biggest threats? Is it the Democratic Party, or do you think it's the nameless, faceless bureaucrats behind the scenes that essentially spy on the American people, censored millions of people? They locked us down in our homes during the coronavirus. They tried to unseat a duly elected president of the United States. Like, what do you think is the biggest threat that we face as a country?
Yes. Everything you just said. And look, there's a new political divide in this country, and people ought to know it. There is no longer conservative versus liberal, because I find myself agreeing a lot with Bill Maher lately and his push for free speech and his jihad against woke. It is no longer Republican versus Democrat. As you know, there are several Republicans who have enabled Democrats to harm all of you. The new political divide in the United States of America is the America First coalition versus the America Last crowd. That's the new political divide. I have one metric that I'm going to be voting on in this primary, and I recommend your audience have this metric as well. you ask yourself one question. How well is the person that's asking for my vote defended me and mine from leftist, Marxist kooks, freaks, and nuts? And if you can't name one definitive, positive thing that your lawmaker or individual asking for your vote has done to protect you and yours, don't vote for them. You don't vote for them. You find somebody who has, or at least if they're a freshman like President Trump was, you find somebody who's pledging to do that. And then you look at their track record. And if they have a track record of success of defending others from leftists, we get the government we deserve, kids. And the reason why we have all of these apparatchiks who are now weaponizing government against us that you were just talking about, Nick, the reason why we have it is because our people have fallen asleep at the wheel. And if you want a better government, our people are going to need to rise up and to make that happen. Self-government requires one indispensable ingredient: self. You cannot have a self-governing dynamic, which is the United States of America, our Constitution, our representative constitutional republic. You cannot have that without you. You have this trust me government stuff that Reagan said we can't fall into. Too many of us have. Get rid of it. It's
well,
time
because many of them can't even give you a definition of what self-government actually means, because they don't understand they have a civic responsibility in this country.
Time to participate, folks. Absolutely, Professor.
100%. Chris, pleasure having you on the program. We're going to have links to the book, The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, A New American Revolution, links to your podcast on the website, PASreport.com. Chris, I really enjoyed the discussion.
Nick, this book is very personal for me, and the fact that you carved out time to have me on, it means an awful lot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for listening to the P.A.S. Report. Don't forget to rate, share, and hit that subscribe button. That way you'll never miss an episode. For more exclusive content and updates, visit us at PASreport.com and follow Professor Giordano on all social media platforms at P.A.S. Report.